folks. Welcome into another edition of Midstate 48, driven by Miracle Auto Group. We're into week number 9 of the regular season. Scott and Cam are with me on this episode. Guys, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Excited. It's a light week for us, but got some important games going on this week, as we'll get to a little bit later on.
Yeah, but it is a light week. Nearly half the coverage area is out on fall break, so the schedule will be pretty sparse when we see you Saturday morning in the school board show. But there's, like I said, still some important games to talk about, and we'll get to them in who you got in this segment. In this episode, we've got Chase Brooks from East Robertson, head coach over there. Going to talk to him in a bit about the game coming up Friday at Westmoreland for the Region 4-2A title for that bunch. It's a big one over there, probably arguably the biggest one in this area considering the playoff circumstances.
Yeah, it doesn't get a whole lot bigger. The stakes don't get a whole lot higher for those two teams. It's something that we could see coming down the pike, and it's going to be. I'm going to tell you, I'm envious that it's the spotlight game, and you're going to be there.
And guys, talking about that game, I was talking with some guys at work and around the Sumner County area. This game is probably one of the bigger games in East Robertson school history. And it has to be one of the biggest games in Westmoreland in at least a decade.
Yeah, definitely. And arguably maybe longer. Westmoreland's been some big games in school history, but it's been a while since they've been, at this point in the rankings as far as their class goes.
I would get there early if you want to park anywhere near the field.
Absolutely.
I would get there as early as you possibly can.
Yeah, thankfully I have the day off on Friday, so I'm getting up there very, very early.
Yeah,
may have to go visit Harper's in Scottsville, Kentucky to get some catfish. I don't know. It's been a minute since I've been up there. So
can't beat Harper's.
Always a good thing.
There we go. Yeah, speaking of those rankings, let's look at those rankings after week number 8 has concluded. So not a ton of movement as far as teams dropping in or out, but there was some shuffling in these rankings. We start in 6A, where all but Oakland moved a spot or two at least, and even though Oakland lost, they still have that number 1 spot, though they did drop a few first place votes this week. They got 13 of the 16 that were the 18 that were handed out. So
yeah, I was just going to say with Oakland, Chris, that they're still the class of 6A, and I don't see any knocking them down with that loss.
I agree.
Yeah, Cambridge at number 2 this week, up 2 spots, and the Ravens 7-1 as they hit their bye week this week. Look down the list, Centennial got a first place vote in 6th.
Yeah, and Centennial's that one Friday night that turned into a Saturday morning. They're that weekend away from being undefeated. Had a lead on Friday night when the game was postponed and wound up losing on Saturday morning to Independence. But that Centennial team picked up a huge win over Ravenwood last week, 28-24. And the Cougars are a team that has been sliding under the radar, but here they are at number 6 and could climb higher than that.
Yeah, they are officially no longer under the radar. They are on the radar of the entire state. So,
yep.
Ravenwood at 9 and Blackman at 10 to round up the top 10. Both of those teams sliding down the list, but not out of the top 10 this week. Each there with votes as well. So, Scott.
No, I was just going to say, and Ravenwood, depending on how long they're without Chris Parson, they could slide out of this list if they're, if things don't turn around for them.
Yeah, and one team that's receiving votes, but I don't think they've been in the top 10 all year, and that's Beech. They're a one-loss team. They're a team that we talk about teams sliding under the radar. There's a bunch of them, but the Buccaneers are no joke.
Yeah, you look at that group that's receiving votes, and Beech and Brentwood play each other next week, which is important for a number of reasons. And one of those two teams should climb in the top 10 if they're able to maintain their winning ways. Let's look over at 5A real quick. Nolensville beat Page in overtime last week and jumped up to number 3, where Page slipped a couple of spots to 4th. And with Mount Juliet is sitting there in the number 9 spot, the other area team in the top 10 this week.
Yes, Page slips down a notch, still gets a first place vote. Nolensville jumps up over them. Okay, logic.
Right. A little surprising about that. I figured Nolensville might get a first place vote.
Yeah, that's what I
figured
thought.
there would be at least 2.
Yeah.
That's what do we?
Yeah. And you got Springfield and Green Hill also getting votes outside the top 10. Springfield, after that loss at Beech, fell out of the top 10 from 8th to that next group.
Yeah, that injury to Devin Crenshaw could wind up halting the Yellow Jacket season here late in the season.
Yeah. Remains to be seen if he'll be able to go against Portland, but if he does, then they may be able to withstand it. Over in 4A, Pearl Cone and Macon County 5th and 6th, and DeKalb County rounds out the top 10.
Well, I think, again, Pearl just continues to climb. When it's all said and done, you'll probably see them a little higher than this. But those teams above them, I don't know that they'll be able to leapfrog all of them. So,
yeah, one big game this week. It's actually out of our area, but number 4 Red Bank goes on the road to play Fayetteville, which I believe, as you'll see later on, there at least 1 or 2 there in 1A. They've already have a victory over a top 10 4A school in Upperman. That should be a really good game in the Midstate, just outside of the 615 area code.
Yeah,
and we knew that DeKalb County, that they're hanging in there.
They're definitely that you can't take lightly with Kobe Barnes' performances and as well with, Coach Trapp has mentioned it in a couple of interviews, but his offensive line's pretty big and they're pretty physical. They really took it to a good Smith County team earlier in the year. That county team has a huge game Friday night against Upperman, a game that could really catapult them into possibly hosting a playoff game.
Yeah. You don't see many regions with the 4 teams in the top 10, but no, 4A does have that with Macon County, Upperman, Stone Memorial, DeKalb County all sitting there in the 6 through 10 spots. And Macon County's win at Stone Memorial puts them back in the driver's seat to win the region, but they must win out to do so, and that includes a non-region game at Smith County next week, and we'll tell you more about that a little bit later on. Over in 3A, Alcoa, East Nashville 1 and 2. Again, this week, East Nashville does get a first-place vote out of it. Looking down at number 8, where Smith County is this week, they jumped up 1 spot.
And I think they may continue to climb. I think you have it's pretty simple. I mean, I think you have a clear-cut 1, 2, and 3A. It's pretty much been that way all year. Everybody anticipating a possible rematch in Chattanooga. But that Smith County team, man, they're the type of team that you don't want to play. They're not overly athletic, but they're big, they're physical. Play really sound on the defensive side of the ball. They're a team that East Nashville can't overlook. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, Fairview getting votes in the poll this week as well, just outside of the top 10. Then the Yellow Jackets will continue to climb if they can beat Waverly in week 11, but that's a couple of weeks down the road. On to 2A, where East Robertson sitting there at number 6, the only area team in the top 10, but Westmoreland is getting some votes there.
Yeah, and guys, we've said it for the last 5 weeks. I don't know how this Westmoreland team is not on this list.
And you better believe that they probably have a copy of this hanging on their wall somewhere. That I can't believe it either. I mean, what else has Westmoreland got to do? Yeah. I mean, honestly,
I think it's simple. Beat East Robertson, and you're going to be in the top 10. I think it's a no-brainer for me, at least. 1A, Gordonsville is the only other team getting votes outside the top 10 this week. So they're
the same boat as Westmoreland.
Yeah.
They beat the number 9 team. They were up 42-7. Wound up giving up a couple late scores to make it 42-21. But you'll see in a couple of weeks they have a huge game against Clay County for the region championship. Huge game not only for home playoff games, being at home through the semifinals, but as well as having the other one go and beat up on South Pittsburgh before you would have to play them in the quarterfinals. That's a huge advantage as well.
Yep. Right. Look at Division 2, not a lot changing there. And single A, Nashville Christian jumps up to 5th. Grace Christian fell out. Clarksville Academy and Grace Christian have some votes as well. Friendship Christian still a near unanimous number 1, with Middle Tennessee Christian now number 3.
What? Wait a minute. Somebody changed the vote. I don't see Mount Juliet Christian.
We're not going to discuss that again. I think somebody finally got a little bit of homework done this week, so kudos to them. Double A, Lipscomb Academy is a unanimous number 1. FRA is 5th. CPA just outside in 6th. And in Triple A, it's MBA. It's unanimous. BA is now 4th and Ensworth 5th. And those two teams will square off next week.
Yeah, those top 5 right there in Division II AAA, man, all 5 of those can hoist that gold ball in Chattanooga at the end of the year. It's just a luck of the draw, and anybody can knock off NBA or Baylor.
Yep. All right, let's take a little bit of a breather for just a second, and while I pull up this Player of the Week stuff, because we had several good candidates to talk about. Each week, the Player of the Week segment is brought to you by Miracle Auto Group, Miracle Ford, Miracle Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram up there in Gallatin. Certainly thankful to have them as a sponsor for that award as well. Hank Brown from Lipscomb Academy, 17 of 27 for 318 yards, 4 touchdowns as they shut out Knoxville Catholic, 42-0. Clarksville's Jamar Carnell, 28 carries, 216 yards, 3 scores, 2 2-point conversions, 10 tackles on defense, and a couple of pass breakups when they beat West Creek 30-14. Beech's Darius Johnson, 13 carries, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns when they knocked off Springfield 42-10. Scott was at that one. Steven Mack from Hendersonville, 22 carries, 298 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And Hendersonville needed all of those because they held on to beat Shelbyville 40-34. DJ Merriweather from Clarksville Academy, 20 of 33, 281 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 13 carries, 116 yards, and a rushing touchdown in the Cougars' 27-22 victory over Grace Christian. And Davidson Academy's Knox Roberts, 18 of 28 for 242 yards and 4 touchdowns as the Bears won 49-20 at North Point Christian. So the votes are in, and you all voted for Steven Mack from Hendersonville to represent you in this week's voting. Tom Duggan, unfortunately, couldn't be on the show tonight. He has Steven Mack as well. Cam, you went with DJ Merriweather.
I did. A guy that's been on the list a couple times this year, and you can't argue with 400 yards of offense in a big region game for them against Grace Christian and Franklin. Really catapulted the Clarksville Academy team to a huge game, a huge win that they had to have as far as playoff purposes go.
Yep. Scott, you chose Darius Johnson for good reason.
Yeah, playing against a team like Springfield, they needed a spark, and he definitely gave it to them, and then some. I just thought that considering the opponent, that his contributions were just incredibly valuable.
I went with Steven Mack. I didn't really consider the opponent here because Hendersonville needed every yard and every point that he scored in order to not fall to Shelbyville in that 40-34 win. He's had a couple of big performances this year, and for me, this one put him over the top for our Miracle Auto Group Player of the Week award. So congratulations to Steven Mack from Hendersonville to win the Player of the Week award for this week. We will get some hardware out to you very, very soon. Thanks to Miracle Auto Group for sponsoring both that award and this show. So why don't we hear from them?
Are you ready for a miracle?
Get $4,891 in total savings with 0 down on a new 22 Dodge Durango GT Plus. Miracle savings plus manufacturer incentives equals $4,891 in total savings at Miracle Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Gallatin. Get $4,891 in total savings on a new 22 Dodge Durango GT Plus.
Are you ready for a miracle?
Glad to have East Robertson head coach Chase Brooks join us this week. Big region game over there against Westmoreland up there in Sumner County this week. Coach, thanks for hopping on with us and taking some time this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
There's a lot surrounding this game, obviously, the way that the two teams have kind of played. Everything's pointed toward this game on Friday night. What's the mood around the locker room right now?
Excited. We've talked to these guys. It's been a long time since East has been able to play for a region championship, and we just talk about how special that is. And it doesn't happen all the time, but moving forward, this kind of an expectation of ours is, that we're supposed to be here. That no longer are we, kind of the redhead stepchild of the region. We're here to play and, make sure that, we're able to make some noise each and every year and have expectations to be here.
The way this region has played out this year with the Indians' resurgence and Westmoreland having such a stout defense and Trousdale County, Watertown having their struggles, did you kind of see this coming, or some of this kind of taking you by surprise?
We looked at the kind of the schedule and who coming back for this upcoming season, and we knew that Westmoreland was going to be strong. They had a lot of seniors or juniors going to be seniors returning for this year. We knew that Watertown had lost quite a few guys. We knew that Trousdale lost a few guys, and we saw just kind of the changing of guard in this region. Just from experience and who was coming back from last year.
Want to talk about your defense because everything has been made about your offense and the skill players you guys possess, but the defense has only allowed 88 points in 7 games. I mean, we talk about Westmoreland's defense, but your defense has been pretty darn good too, considering that half of those points came against Macon County in week 1.
Right. We preach that. We want to get better each and every week, no matter who we're playing. Westmoreland's played a very, very tough schedule, and who they've played their non-region games with. And who we've played, it's probably not the par who they've played so far this season. But we preach on defense that we got to get better each and every week. In that first game, we're playing a lot of young guys. We had 4 freshmen on the field and 3 sophomores. So the old coaching rule is, for every sophomore that you play, that's a loss. And so we're playing, 3 sophomores and 4 freshmen. And so, we just feel like we're trying to get better each and every week.
Scott, anything?
Yeah, Coach, what is it about the Westmoreland defense that makes them such a tough defense, and how do you attack that?
They're just sound in what they do. They play sound football, and they're kind of technicians. They run the football well. They're not going to let you get outside of them. And so, we're just trying to come up with ways, just trying to move the football, trying to challenge our guys, to make sure that we're staying on blocks and make sure our backs are, cutting off, the butts of these blocks. The challenge is just, not getting upset. Last week when we played Watertown, our guys kind of got upset with 4 and 5 yard gains. And we're trying to tell them that's a good thing. We keep the chains moving. But they're used to, those 40, 50 yard gains. They kind of get discouraged when they're only getting 5 and 6 yards a carry. So, telling our guys that, that's a good thing. And, you get a couple of those together, that's a first down. So, we're just hoping to move the football, against that very, very tough Westmoreland defense.
Is that kind of a precursor to what you might see this week to get them prepared for that, considering how tough their defense is? Couple of things that I know Cam wanted to ask. He can't be on here right now. The game plan for blocking Dawson Borders and Nick Gray were 58 and 27 respectively. How do you get those guys contained a little bit to allow your skill guys to get outside and show their speed?
It's just taking care of the box, playing assignment, on offense, taking care of your assignments, getting your body in position to cut off and, just challenging our guys. Those guys are going to be really tough. The Watertown guys play very similar defense. They're tough. They run the football. They're not going to give up the big play, a lot like Westmoreland. And so just playing Watertown and then Westmoreland was kind of a good week, a good week of preparation of what we're going to see and what we're going to continue to see this week. So it's a big challenge for our guys to block those guys.
I was going to say, you talk about blocking. Talk about your offensive line because your team has done a wonderful job of running the ball. Zachariah Prince is he's put up some big numbers, but it all starts up front. Tell me about those guys.
We got a very senior-led group up front. Our offensive line, just mean, nasty type guys. Love to run the football. Begging us to run the football when they come to the sideline. And so they've been really our biggest difference maker. Even though we have the athletes. Z Prince, we got Isaiah Groves, we got Sean Groves, a lot of guys that, can with the ball in their hand are very special. But it starts with the offensive line. Those guys just coming off the ball, staying low, staying on blocks and, and driving their guys off the football. So everything's just kind of revolved around our offensive line.
What would winning this game and winning a region title mean for East Robertson?
It's big. We talked about the playoffs and how this year our region set up for us. Whoever, us Westmoreland wins that game will host throughout the playoffs as long as you continue to win. So it's huge, not only, for a playoff stand, but, also, for, Somebody told me, I think last time that, East Robertson won a championship, a region championship was 2005. So just to kind of keep things rolling and keep the kids believing in what we're trying to do here and changing the culture and changing what we're doing here, it's going to be huge.
How's the community and support and involvement been with the success of your program?
Oh, it's amazing. One of the things that, when I was taking this job, that I was talking to people, around the community and, saying how much support they have, even if they're down, they're winning, whatever, people show up to the games. Amount of people that's willing to help, paint a line or clean the stadium or pick up, whatever we ask them to do. It's just amazing, these small town communities, how much they love football and, how much football, how important football is to them. And so it really shows, we have a lot of support, a lot of people willing to do a lot of things for us, especially right now.
When you took the job at East Robertson and you knew you had some talent that you were inheriting over there, what was one of the first things that you did to kind of set the tone for this group of kids as far as what you expected from them?
We created competition, ways to compete, whether that was, running, whether that was doing push-ups, whether that was in the weight room doing little things. We try to create a constant environment of competition and, telling them it's not okay to lose, not okay to come in second. You're trying to do everything you can to win whatever we're trying to do. Checkers, chess, it doesn't matter. We want to win. And so just, challenging those guys and forcing them to compete each and every day, it's really paid off for us here in the last couple of weeks.
Well, who would you say that might have been a player that has broken out this year and then had a big breakout year?
We got two kids that we're, extremely proud of, that's really stepped up on offense. Z Prince, a kid that, rushed for 700 yards last year. Looking at him and what he was able to do last year, we thought Isaiah coming into the season was going to be, our feature back, and Zeke or Z was going to kind of back him up. But it's kind of been, with Isaiah's injury, Z's really taken off, and that kid has gotten better each and every week. Just understanding where to hit the hole and how to follow his blocks. Outstanding young man. He's a great kid, great, young man to be around. He's fun and, he's doing special things on offense. And then defensively, our middle linebacker, Dallas Caffrey is, he's doing an excellent job. Does a great job of reading. Runs the football. He's kind of a headhunter. He's really stepped up and made a lot of plays for us. He calls the defense and does a lot of great things for us.
Coach, one person that we don't tend to talk about on offensively is your quarterback, Colin Cook, and what is he showing you this year as far as his play and his leadership go?
His leadership is, the most important. He's the guy that gets us lined up, he calls the play, gets us in position to make plays. We're able to tweak things during the game. A very football savvy player that you can make adjustments on the fly. And so our offense really runs through him. He throws a great touch ball. Been able to hook up with Sean Groves a whole bunch this season. And we're just hoping to get Elijah Groves, another weapon, that's kind of been hurt the whole year. We're hoping to get him kind of healthy, moving forward, so we have another target. But, he's big and just, setting offense, getting us going, making adjustments on the fly. Just a great young man, great character young man. We really like him.
You mentioned Elijah Groves. Is he starting to get close to being back to getting on the field again?
Yes, sir. Got his cast off, last week. So still working to kind of get him back in the groove of things in the offense. He's been doing very well on defense, making a lot of plays over there. But, hopefully moving forward as we get to the playoffs, we'll see him making a lot of plays on offense as well.
Coach, one thing I've noticed that, and it's a kind of a neat thing to witness from our vantage point. You have a very passionate coaching staff.
Yes,
they really seem to care about the kids and to get into and to instruct them, but at the same time they're as competitive as just about anybody.
No doubt. And even in our own practices, our varsity is going against our scout team. We're getting into it with each other. We're trying to get the side fired up. We're really almost trying to kill each other out there during our team sessions, because again how competitive we are, and how much that the other side hates to lose and hates to give up anything. So it makes practice interesting. Competition comes out, and it makes the players better, I believe.
I'm looking forward to Friday night getting over there and seeing you guys in Westmoreland, because it should be a good one with both teams as good as they have been this year. So certainly looking forward to that. Scott, you got anything else?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, Coach, appreciate you coming on with us this week. No, I'll see you Friday night, and good luck to you and the Indians over there in Westmoreland. It's going to be a big one, going to be a fun one.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Well, we didn't see Gridiron Eats last week, but Scott did get out to Beech last week and get some food for himself. So let's see what he got into.
You can see we're getting ready for the Beech and Springfield game, and I'm here with Shannon. And Shannon, you've got several unique eats here. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you are? I mean, who you are, what you do, and
I started with this program. It's been some years ago. Back in 2008 was our first game. My wife and I have missed only one since then, but I've just gotten more involved in the program as we over the years, and the concession stand was a piece of the puzzle, and we started building on it, trying to make it something that was, that was going to be productive, was going to be profitable, something we could give a good product out, and put a good food out, and people come want to come here, and that's what we do. And we serve a lot of different things. I mean, across the board, a lot of people kind of reference it like a restaurant type thing. It's somewhat like that. It's not really like that. I mean, we do hamburgers and cheeseburgers. I do pork loin sandwiches on Friday nights, but we do all the games here. I don't just do one of them. I do all of them. We do all 43 games throughout the year. So even the 5th and 6th grade games, the middle school games, our freshman games, our JV games, all of it. So, and I do ice cream, we do fried pies, we do funnel cakes, I do Arnold Palmer's, we do fresh squeezed lemonade, and we just try to cater to. I do a really nice golf course type hot dog, and things like that. We do French fries, which is kind of the basis of what we do. I call it the hub of everything that's here, because we sell so many French fries, and it's turned out really good.
Folks, I can tell you that the French fries are delicious. I've already partaken of the cheese fries just as a precursor. I'm looking forward to some of the other things that you have. Now, you told me that if there's something going on in this field, you're here. It may not be the same menu, but you support just about every activity that goes on here.
I support it all, whether it's basketball, not basketball, whether it's cheerleading, whether it's a band, who it is. If there's an activity on this field, then we always open this thing up. I want everybody to be happy with me, and that's what we do. Everybody's covered across the board. Well, we average about 43 games a year on this field between all of them. And it's a lot of work. It's a couple of months of hard work, but outside of that, it's just a lot of fun.
Well, judging from the line over here, I can tell that they're enjoying it. I'm going to step inside and take a look at some of your offerings, and then I'm going to try some.
All right.
So, all right, folks,
enjoy it.
Get ready. Thank you so much. So we're seeing the funnel cakes going on and the fried pies right now.
Right.
And your name, sir?
Scott.
Scott.
Yeah.
Good name. My name's Scott.
All right.
And you're making the funnel cakes, and I see the
fried honey buns.
Oh, fried honey buns.
Fried pies.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Apple, peach, and chocolate.
Oh, chocolate. Okay, I'll be trying one of those here shortly.
All right.
And we got the wrapping station going on over here. Very, very busy tonight. We're out here where the grills and the fryers are. These gentlemen are busy getting it going. You heard Shannon talk about the fries, how good they are. Can't beat them, he says. And I will tell you, they are hard to beat. I had some earlier. And here we have the gentleman on the fryer. He's got it lined up. I mean, what a display here of culinary delights. All right, I'm done. I'm in line. I got to go. So here's what we have. We have the fried honey bun with ice cream. And here we have the fried peach pie with ice cream. We're going to give them both a try, and we're going to see how they are. Okay, so first I'm going to try the peach pie with ice cream.
Y'all played them.
Oh my God.
Running back zero's good. Yeah. Fullback.
Oh my goodness.
36.
The pie is flaky. The filling is warm from the fried, but the cold ice cream with it. Oh man, that is so good. You guys got to come and get some of this. Now we're going to try the honey bun I promise I'm going to run later up and down the sidelines. Let's try this.
We'd like to welcome our guests from Springfield to the Shakalala community here in Hendersonville. Before we get started here tonight,
oh my goodness,
to help you get acquainted with
folks,
this facility.
You guys got to come down and try this. This is amazing. I can't tell you which one's better because I don't know. But I can tell you these won't last very long because I'm going to eat them.
Our concession stand is located at the
Make sure that you guys come down to Beech, come down the concession stand, see Mr. Shannon, and enjoy all the good things they have to eat. So I will first. I volunteer to go cover any game at Beech.
And don't sleep on the pork loin. I didn't have it on that video, but the pork loin is very, very good as well.
I'm all in at honey bun.
Oh my gosh!
Agreed.
I tell you. Well, the good thing is that I still haven't tried the apple, and I still haven't tried the chocolate. So I have reasons.
So what you're telling me, Scott, is you're trying to go back.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Scott is my new best friend.
There you go. Well, all right. That does it for Gridiron Eats for this week, and very good looking menu over there at Beech. And judging from someone who's covered plenty of games over there, I can tell you they do a great job. So before we go any further, let's hear from Innovate Medical. It is that time of the week again where we try to pick some winners. It's who you got. Let's bring up last week's results briefly because it doesn't look great. There's a lot of bloodshed.
Ugly.
Yeah, that's the word to describe it, Cam. Spot on. Yeah. Everybody took at least 4 losses. Reggie had the upset of the year with CPA over Oakland, but not much else.
Yeah, well, I would like to officially say we have a new leader in the clubhouse.
Thanks for that, Cam. I didn't mention it, but since you brought it up,
coming.
not just first place, second place changed too.
Yep, I have been dethroned.
I will return the favor there. So 1 and 2 switch, 1, 2, and 3 have switched for the first time pretty much all season. So let's look over that week 8 mess real quick. Yeah, there's a lot of red on that screen if you're watching it. Reggie had CPA over Oakland. I guess he was on to something because
Yeah.
And Tom had over Greenbrier.
Reggie may have been the only creature in Tennessee that had CPA.
Yeah. But,
and he caught flack for it too. The pick last week.
He did catch flack, but he was laughing for a little bit. But then on Friday, the losses started coming.
Yeah.
As we'll see on this next screen. Yeah. We all missed on Ravenwood at Centennial. Half of us got Beech over Springfield. We all missed station camp against Wilson Central. And then we were split 4 and 2 toward Nolensville over Page. So now that we get that out of the way, the full season looks a little bit better. Cam, we always say single-digit losses are a good thing, and Cam was the only one that managed that this week. So the gap's closing a little bit. So I gotta step it up.
Getting there.
15 games behind.
Yeah.
Good night.
See the bottom of the screen there. Scott had Crittenden County over Liberty Creek last week, as I told you so. Tom had Creekwood over Greenbrier. Cam nailed Tullahoma and Mount Juliet Christian's wins. And I don't really care whether I get them or not as long as I'm in first place. So, without further ado, let's get to these picks for week number 9, starting with Laverne at Overton on Thursday night, another key region game for the Bobcats, and we're all just going to take Overton in that Thursday night tilt. I don't know that there's really a lot of explanation here. Overton is the better team, in my opinion, and they're playing good football right now. Had it not been for a couple of turnovers, they could easily have beaten Cambridge last week.
100%. Exactly what I was about to say, Chris. They only lost 21-12. They had some unfortunate turnovers. I believe a couple turnovers inside Raven territory.
Yep.
With a chance to put up points, and I don't know for sure did Juice Majors playing that game or no?
He's not back yet. They hope to have him back soon, but no timetable for his return yet.
If that is the case, this Overton team is a team to watch, especially when it comes time for the playoffs.
Yeah, and they played well without him.
I mean, Laverne has some speed. I mean, Zante Clark is a dynamic runner. Isaiah Banner, they better not kick to him because Isaiah Banner can return it. But I think just as an overall team, Overton's a pretty solid team on all fronts.
Yeah. It's a skilled group that you don't really want to see on the opposite line when the playoffs come. So, whoever in Region 5 finishes second or third may have a tough matchup on their hands with the Bobcats. Just a reminder, you can vote at 615preps.com about all 10 of these games this week as well. Voting runs up until 6 o'clock on Thursday. Whites Creek and Charleston County, speaking of Thursday night, this one is important for Charleston County because it is their last stand. If they want to keep that playoff streak going, they've got to win out, and it starts here.
Well, Whites Creek's another team that's really got having a offensive brownout. In their 3 region games, they've got 6 points. Of course, 2 of those teams are against Watertown and Westmoreland, but still, Trousdale County, this is kind of one of those games that really could roll either way. But I just think Trousdale County just a little bit more than one-dimensional than Whites Creek.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cam. Sorry. Deal is, I'm Trousdale County alone, and hearing word around and listening to games. This Trousdale County team has gotten better this year, as we expected. But the problem is they're still making just too many mistakes to win football games in key pivotal situations. Down to 21 kids on the team, it's really bad for Charleston County numbers. They've been low in numbers before, but it's really going to come down to if Charleston County can keep from making those mental errors. That's what's going to decide this game. I believe talent-wise, it's pretty even. This being at home helps Charleston County. I look for them to get their first win this season, but it will be a close ball game.
Yeah. The thing with Trousdale County, they have scored more points in region play than Whites Creek has through 3 games, so that does play in their favor here. I think they do win number 1 and keep that streak alive at least for another couple of weeks. They'll have to beat Watertown as well to get in. That's their only path.
We prepare for that one.
Yeah. So 4 of us on Trousdale County. Reggie's going with the Cobras of Whites Creek in that particular game. Rockville at Blackman as we start the Friday night group, and we are all on Blackman with the exception of Reggie, who's going contrarian again.
Yeah, Blackman, that offense is just a juggernaut at times, and Rockville losing their starting quarterback in that game against Nolensville really took the wind out of their sails that they had going earlier in the season. I like Blackman to win because of the offense.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Blackman's had a week to get over the Oakland loss and focus on Rockville. Last year, Rockville beat them 50-45, so you got a little bit of that revenge factor going there. I think that I foresee a big game from Justin Brown on both sides of the ball in this game, and I think that I expect a big game out of him. And I think Blackman just has too much with Rockville being without their quarterback.
Rockville's going to have to look at that Stewart's Creek film against Blackman to kind of see a semi-blueprint of how they're going to have to attack Blackman and play clock control ball, because that's really what it's going to come down to. If you can keep Blackman's offense off the field long enough, you might be able to limit their possessions and limit their scoring. But at the same time, you've got to be able to put points up, and can Rockville do that? That's the biggest question. And I'm not sure that they'll be able to outscore Blackman in this one. I'm going with the Blaze as a result. Beech at Gallatin, another one of those games that Beech can win the region with the win over in this one, but Gallatin could open the door for themselves, and Clarksville too, if they were to win this one. But we're all going with the Buccaneers to get the job done in Gallatin and take that region title.
Yeah, Beech is, I think, 10 years now that they've had on Gallatin in this game. I don't think it ends here. I think that Beech is just a little bit more solid all the way around. It's going to be it's going to be a ground game. Neither one of these teams likes to throw. So, I mean, it could be an early game if they just keep it on the ground. But I just think Beech has a little bit too much, and I think their defense is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here we are in week 9, and we're still talking about teams that make mistakes. And in Gallatin's losses, they just made too many mistakes. That's not a good thing to have with a football team. They have the horses to win this game, and not only win this game, but make a run in the playoffs, guys. When you got a guy that with as much talent as Gene Merriweather, I mean, he's a game changer on special teams, defense, offense, the whole nine. It's just really going to come down to can Gallatin. It's stable versus stable as far as running backs go, and I believe Beech's is just a little bit better, and I think their defense is a little bit better. So I like the Buccaneers to win the region.
The way these teams run the ball, don't blink or you might miss a quarter. In this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Noah Watson and Bronco Hanks are going to be the key to this game, the linebackers for Beech.
Yep. Good pasture at Davidson Academy. A couple of neighborhood teams going at it in region play there in Division II AA. And we all like the Bears to beat Good Pasture. And it's important for seeding, too, because in that 4-5 seed over there in that region, they don't want to have to see a potential elimination game. And winning this game would keep them away from it.
Yeah, the Bears got off to a little bit of a slow start this year. Wound up getting Simmons back, and ever since then, that offense has really taken off. They lost a shootout to National Christian, but I really like that Bears offense, and I think they scored enough to win.
This was a tough game for me to pick. I actually think that Good Pasture is much better than they've been. They've got a really good, solid bruising back in Musa Wellman and a good, solid quarterback in Jaron Elkins that actually can run the ball very, very well. But, you get back you get back your playmaker. Your quarterback's playing extremely well. And the young kids are learning. They've got Harper and Seabrooks up front. Seabrooks leads in tackles and sacks. I just think that Davidson Academy is a little bit stronger team defensively.
Yep. On to page 2, we've got Pearl Cone and Greenbrier. The Greenbrier coming off a loss to Creeksville. Pearl Cone got away from Marshall County in the second half of their game last week. We're all on the Firebirds this week.
Yeah, it's Pearl Cone is just a runaway train right now. They're performing in all phases: the offensive, defense, special teams. They're turning opponents over. I just think that it's there's just a little too much speed and a little too much size for Greenbrier this week.
Yeah, last year, in this ball game, Greenbrier hung in there for 3 quarters. I believe at the end of the third quarter, it was 7-0. That won't happen this year. I don't believe that Pearl Cone will come in overlooking Greenbrier. I look for them to come in focused and sharp mentally. I think the Firebirds jump on the Bobcats early, and Greenbrier, I'm not sure that they have the offensive firepower to get back in it.
Yeah, Greenbrier has scored pretty much half of what Pearl Cone has put up this year so far offensively this year. And the Firebirds can win Region 5 4A with a win in this game as well. So that's something else to look forward to for them in that contest. Station Camp at Portland. It's a non-region game for these two teams, but both these teams would like to keep winning and head toward the playoffs with some momentum. Station Camp in a bit of trouble in their region, but they could use a win nonetheless. And on Station Camp, as well as Tom and Scott, Cam, and Reggie, have Portland.
Yeah, tough game to pick here for me. One thing that I just love that stable of backs that Portland has with Piro and Dowling and Freddie Paxton there. All 3 of them can take it to the house when they need to play, and Station Camp's kind of reeling after a couple tough region losses. They got a super uphill battle for them to try to make the playoffs in their region. I just think this Panther team, I think they're going to be a little bit excited about the possibility of facing Springfield without Devin Crenshaw possibly. I like for them to win a tough one, but I will also add huge revenge game here for Station Camp as they were undefeated last year going into this ball game. And Portland knocked them off, and ever since, after that loss, Station Camp season didn't quite go the way that they wanted it to.
Yeah, this Station Camp team is a little bit of a mystery. They come in losing their last 2 and 3 of the last 5. This would be a game for them to get well against, but much like Cam, the three-headed monster, as they call them, to me are very important. But I think really the key to this game is the line, the defensive line, the size that Portland has. If they can contain the quarterback for Station Camp, which I think they can do, especially with Paxton on the outside to kind of shut those corners down, force Station Camp to pass, then I think that Portland has a really good shot at this game. And I think that, and that's the reason I'm going with them. I just think that the line and size of Portland is maybe just a little too much for Station Camp.
I went with the Bison simply because this is a spot where Portland could be looking ahead, and if they get caught looking ahead, they'll drop this game to Station Camp. If they're looking ahead to Springfield at all, that's not a good thing, and Station Camp needs a bounce back in a big way to try to close this thing out strong. So I'm looking for the Bison to bounce back in this one, and Portland will put up a heck of a fight with that backfield that you guys were talking about, and this could be a good, very close game for these two teams. Oakland at Riverdale. Usually this game would headline things for us, but the way Riverdale has had some struggles this year, this does not look all that promising for them against the Patriots, who now come in here having dropped the game for the first time since 2019.
Well, yeah, you talk about the streak. The streak's over, and I think that's going to be more of a relief than it is a curse, because a lot of times when you have that streak hanging over you, it's like a weight. You don't want to be the one that drops the ball, so you press, and then you get out of position because you're not trusting your teammates, and things just kind of snowball. That's gone. They don't have to worry about that anymore. Now they just have to worry about crushing whoever happens to roll in front of them. Unfortunately, this week for Riverdale, it's the Warriors. I see this as a chance for Oakland to refocus and recharge and take out some frustration.
Yeah, being around Coach Kevin Creasy when he was at Trousdale County, I can guarantee that this is probably the best week of practice that they've had in maybe over a year. He's talk about him being the most prepared coach in the state. I don't think I've seen a team, one of his teams get, I'll just call it what it is. They were dominated on Friday night by CPA physically. And I think that they will come out ready to go, as Scott mentioned, and I would hate to be a Warrior this week.
I will say this about Riverdale's defense, though. That's a unit that can carry things on their back. They did so against Siegel a couple of weeks ago, and it helped them win a game they had to have. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily have to have this one, but they need to have a good showing regardless, and they don't want to get themselves blown out by any means. If Riverdale is to have a chance to win this game, they've got to be sound defensively and not give up big plays, period. Bottom line. That's what the key for them is this weekend, but we're all taking the Patriots to win that one. In that region, Stewart's Creek plays Siegel, and this is an important one for both teams. Stewart's Creek is in a position to get a playoff spot if they can keep winning. Siegel has to have it in order to have any shot at a postseason berth themselves. Reggie's going with the Stars, but the rest of us are on the Red Hawks.
Man, tough game to pick here, guys. Really like that Siegel defense and what they were able to do, especially early on in the year. But this Stewart's Creek team is just hot right now, guys. I couldn't go against the Red Hawks.
Now, the thing is that Siegel has, Thomas Santel, the quarterback, is a lot of their offense. They haven't been able to get Corey Sims untracked of late. I think that going head to head, that's pretty tough offense. But I just think that Stewart's Creek, who has their own three-headed monster in the backfield, led by Javarian Odie, is just a little bit too strong. And as you said, Cam, they're on a roll. Right now they're playing some of the best ball in Rutherford County. and I think that this game is really, really important to them. I just feel like Stewart's Creek comes out of this one.
Yeah, the Stewart's Creek has a big matchup with Riverdale in week 11, but they need to get this one to have that one have any meaning for themselves. So an important one for both teams, but Stewart's Creek in particular needs to keep winning if they want a playoff spot. And that brings us to our spotlight game of the week, which is East Robertson and Westmoreland. We've talked about these two teams for several weeks leading up to this game. We talked to Chase Brooks earlier in the show, and now it's time to pick a winner here. And the four of us were split. Scott, you and I have East Robertson, Tom and Cameron Westmoreland. Cam, I want you to start and give it the Westmoreland view.
Darn, I was going lead Corso Scott. But and this was actually brought to my attention earlier in the week from a Westmoreland fan, and I didn't really think about it. I knew Westmoreland's defense was darn good. Region games this year for Westmoreland, their score is 92 for them and 0 for their opponents. No region opponent has scored on Westmoreland. East Robertson has put up points plenty on everybody that they faced except Watertown. And they had to put up 12, and one of those touchdowns being in overtime. I just think the defense is going to be too much for Westmoreland, for East Robertson to overcome. It will be a low-scoring game. I don't believe this is probably a one-score game. I got burnt earlier in the year picking against Westmoreland. And I just think I love that senior leadership on that team with Dawson Borders and Cameron Eden. East Robertson's got the athletes out of the two teams for sure. But if speed can't get started, it can't burn you. So I like Westmoreland to win a really good football game, guys. If you want to watch a good football game, this is the one to go to this week.
I could think of 100 reasons why I should pick Westmoreland in this game, but I've been on East Robertson, on the bandwagon for East Robertson since the beginning of the season. I'm not jumping off now. Yes, Cam, everything you said is true. They're aside from Macon County, which is a 5-point loss, their other two losses for Westmoreland were by a point. So there's a lot to say about the Westmoreland defense, but there's something special about this East Robertson team. And I think that they've got a chip on their shoulder. I think that that the coaching staff will have these guys ready. And I think that, they get out fast. And like you said, it may be a one-score game. I think they get out fast, get the lead, and kind of stay there.
Yeah, just speaking on that, Westmoreland is the more battle-tested team, although I will say that overtime game with Watertown could, later in this season, both of them are coming off bye weeks last week. But that overtime game against Watertown, I believe it could have came at a perfect time for East Robertson, really get them back focused for that bye week heading into this game. But this is going to be a darn good football game, guys. I'm excited to be there. I'll be there with Chris. Even if you come to the game and then tune in on Saturday and watch the highlights on YouTube, this one's going to be a great football game.
Yep. I know you guys I know everybody's waiting for this one to see what Reggie picks. Well, let's find out. Reggie, what you got?
Now's the cat.
I think I confused him.
Reg. Looks like he's made his choice, huh? All right. Reggie's made his choice, and his choice is the Westmoreland Eagles. Crunch away, Reg.
Yep, it's 3-2 in favor of Westmoreland as Reggie takes the Eagles. Probably the biggest slow play pick he's ever had because he took a sweet time there, Scott.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna have to start cutting his time. But if I want people to understand, he picks them. I don't do a thing. It is all on the cat.
Well, he kind of had an approach, sit back and just look at things for a while before you make a decision.
Well, let's face it, we all kind of hemmed and hawed around this one.
Yeah. And after last week especially, it probably was a good idea to take a little more time to do some studying on this one.
Right.
Let's review what we've got so far. We're all on Robertson over Laverne. Reggie is Whites Creek over Charleston County. The rest of us are on the Yellow Jackets. He's got Rockville over Blackman. The rest of us are on the Blaze. We've all got Beech over Gallatin. We've all got Davidson Academy over Good Pasture. On the page 2, we've all got Pearl Cone over Greenbrier. Tom and I are on Station Camp. The rest of them are on the Panthers of Portland. Everybody's on Oakland over Riverdale. Reggie has Siegel over Stewart's Creek, and the rest of us are on the Red Hawks. Tom, Cam, and Reggie have the Eagles of Westmoreland, and Scott and I are on East Robertson in our spotlight game of the week. And that, folks, is all the damage we can do into who you got. Guys, let's get out of here with one last word before we go.
Go ahead, Scott.
Well, all I was going to say was, from time to time when we're out at games, some of you have been really nice coming up and saying nice things about us. And, I won't tell you what they're saying about Chris, but no, you've been, you guys are great. And, I've talked about the unsung heroes of games and things of that nature, but it's you. You guys are what making this go. Your views right now. Hey, we got some more. We got some more subscribers. We're up to we're 302 away from our goal. Just keep it up. Tell your friends. Interact with us. We had we had some banner on the scoreboard show. Love it. Just keep interacting with us and let us know what it is that you guys like, don't like, would like to see different.
Scott, I'm a little curious now as to what they're saying about me, but I'm too old to care at this point. Cam, you're up next.
Yeah, I mean it's week 9. It is a light week, but there's still several great games in our area, guys. That Portland Station Camp game should be a good one. Beech Gallatin, a huge rivalry game. That's going to be a great atmosphere. And could be a great game if Gallatin cleans up the mistakes. But, guys, we picked the right game of the week this week. There's no doubt about it. East Robertson versus Westmoreland. Coming from a small school and being around small schools most of both my high school years as well as my career in media, guys, this is what it's all about for small school football. Region championship, that's stuff that you put on your letterman's jacket. That's stuff that you tell your kids and your grandkids about 20, 30, 40 years down the line. And both of these teams have not had this opportunity in several years. Huge game on the rock pile. One thing I will lastly add, I will not be on the scoreboard show again Saturday. As Scott and Chris know, I'm a season ticket member for Tennessee. So I'm going to say go Vols. And Chris, you can edit this out if you want to. It is Bama week, and we don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama.
I'm not going to edit that out because, I'll sing the song too. I don't care. But no, well said, Cam. Yeah, for me, I want to go back to last Friday night for a moment, and the Page-Nolensville game, and what kind of atmosphere that was. I want to say, first off, well done by both the Page and the Nolensville student sections. Page had a student pass away from leukemia a few days, just a short time ago, and both sections were orange in his honor. And it was a really nice thing to see for both those communities to come together, especially after the game and meet at midfield and share some moments together. There are some things bigger than football, and that was one real good example of it. It was a great atmosphere for the game itself, just because the communities were up for it. Nolensville had never had that kind of attention before, even though they've had success, and they shined in the spotlight. And when it came down to crunch time, their players made some of the biggest plays, and they won that game in overtime as a result. This week is really no different with East Robertson and Westmoreland, just on a smaller scale. And it's like Cam said, these smaller schools, they live for this kind of game. And the atmosphere there may not be as many people as was at Nolensville Friday night, but don't you dare say the energy is any less, because I can promise you it'll be there. Those teams want it just as bad as anybody else. And that's why when we started this, we promised we were never going to ignore the smaller schools. That's why we're going where we're going this week. And I'm looking forward to getting up to Westmoreland. I've seen many games there. I've covered many games there. It's a great atmosphere for football, especially this time of year when it's getting colder and you got to put a jacket on and you're at a Westmoreland football game. It's a pretty good place when that team's good. So looking forward to it. It's going to be a great one. And I know having Cam there, we'll have plenty of coverage for you guys as well. And even though your team might be off this week, there's no excuse for you not to be following us on social media and on YouTube and everything else that we're doing. That you've got your phone basically right in your hand pretty much every time, so you can see what we're up to. That's all I got. That's all the damage we can do. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to the Midstate 48 powered by Miracle Auto Group. We will talk to you Saturday morning on the Scoreboard Show, minus Cam, of course. And hopefully we'll have Tom Duggan back next week. Want to say best wishes to him and his family as well. They're having some health issues, unfortunately. So I want to say get well to all y'all. For Scott and for Cam, I'm Chris. We're out. We'll see you next time.
Go Vols, baby.